The voice of God, the Shepherd of Hermas, the Commandments, continued. Sixth Commandment. How to recognize the two spirits attending on each man, and how to distinguish the suggestions of the one from those of the other. Chapter 1. I gave you, he said, directions in the first commandment to attend to faith and fear and self-restraint. Even so, sir, said I. And he said, Now I wish to show you the power of these, that you may know that power which each possesses. For their powers are double and have relation alike to the righteous and to the unrighteous. Trust you therefore the righteous, but put no trust in the unrighteous. For the path of righteousness is straight, but that of unrighteousness is crooked. But walk in the straight and even way, and mind not the crooked. For the crooked path has no roads, but has many pathless places, and stumbling blocks in it, and it is rough and thorny. It is injurious to those who walk therein. But they who walk in the straight road walk evenly without stumbling, because it is neither rough nor thorny. You see then that it is better to walk in this road. I wish to go by this road, said I. You will go by it, he said, and whoever turns to the Lord with all his heart will walk in it. Chapter 2. Hear now, he said, in regard to faith. There are two angels with a man, one of righteousness and the other of iniquity. And I said to him, How, sir, am I to know the powers of these? For both angels dwell with me. Hear, said he, and understand them. The angel of unrighteousness is gentle. The angel of righteousness is gentle and modest, meek and peaceful. When therefore he ascends into your heart, forthwith he talks to you of righteousness, purity, chastity, contentment, and of every righteous deed and glorious virtue. When all these ascend into your heart, know that the angel of righteousness is with you. These are the deeds of the angel of righteousness. Trust him then and his works. Look now at the works of the angel of iniquity. First, he is wrathful and bitter and foolish, and his works are evil, and ruin the servants of God. When then he ascends into your heart, know him by his works. And I said to him, How, sir, I shall perceive him, I don't know. Hear and understand, he said. When anger comes upon you, or harshness, know that he is in you. And you will know this to be the case also when you are attacked by a longing after many transactions, and the richest delicacies, and drunken revels, and divers luxuries, and things improper, and by a hankering after women, and by overreaching, and pride, and blustering, and by whatever is like to these. When these ascend into your heart, know that the angel of iniquity is in you. Know that you know his works. Now that you know his works, depart from him, and in no respect trust him, because his deeds are evil and unprofitable to the servants of God. These then are the actions of both angels. Understand them, and trust the angel of righteousness, but depart from the angel of iniquity, because his instruction is bad in every deed. For though a man be most faithful, and the thought of his angel ascend into his heart, that man or woman must sin. On the other hand, be a man or woman ever so bad, yet if the works of the angel of righteousness ascend into his or her heart, he or she may do something good. You see therefore that it is good to follow the angel of righteousness, but to bid farewell to the angel of iniquity. This commandment exhibits the deeds of faith, that you may trust the works of the angel of righteousness, and doing them you may live to God. But believe the works of the angel of iniquity are hard. If you refuse to do them, you will live to God. Seventh commandment. On fearing God and not fearing the devil. Fear, he said, the Lord, and keep his commandments. For if you keep the commandments of God, you will be powerful in every action, and every one of your actions will be incomparable. For fearing the Lord, you will do all things well. This is the fear which you ought to have, that you may be saved. But fear not the devil, for fearing the Lord you will have dominion over the devil, for there is no power in him. But he in whom there is no power ought on no account to be an object of fear. But he in whom there is glorious power is truly to be feared. For every one that has power ought to be feared, but he who has no power is despised by all. Fear therefore the deeds of the devil, since they are wicked. For fearing the Lord you will not do these deeds, but will refrain from them. For fears are of two kinds. For if you do not wish to do that which is evil, fear the Lord, and you will not do it. But again, if you wish to do that which is good, fear the Lord, and you will do it. Wherefore the fear of the Lord is strong and great and glorious. Fear then the Lord, and you will live to him, and as many as fear him and keep his commandments will live to God. Why, said I, sir, did you say in regard to those that keep his commandments that they will live to God? Because, says he, all creation fears the Lord, but all creation does not keep his commandments. They only who fear the Lord and keep his commandments have life with God. But as to those who keep not his commandments, there is no life in them. Eighth commandment. We ought to shun that which is evil and do that which is good. I told you, he said, that the creatures of God are double, for restraint also is double. For in some cases restraint has to be exercised, in others there is no need of restraint. Make known to me, sir, said I, in what cases restraint has to be exercised, and in what cases it has not. Restrain yourself in regard to evil, and do it not, but exercise no restraint in regard to good, but do it. For if you exercise restraint in the doing of good, you will commit a great sin. But if you exercise restraint as to not to do that which is evil, you are practicing great righteousness. Restrain yourself therefore from all iniquity, and do that which is good. What, sir, say I, are the evil deeds from which we must restrain ourselves? Here, he says, from adultery and fornication, from unlawful reveling, from wicked luxury, from indulgence in many kinds of food and the extravagance of riches, and from boastfulness and haughtiness and insolence and lies and backbiting and hypocrisy, from the remembrance of wrong and from all slander. These are the deeds that are most wicked in the life of men. From all these deeds, therefore, the servant of God must restrain himself. For he who does not restrain himself from these cannot live in God. Listen then to the deeds that accompany these. Are there, sir, said I, any other evil deeds? There are, he says, and many of them too, from which the servants of God must restrain himself. Theft, lying, robbery, false witness, overreaching, wicked lust, deceit, vainglory, boastfulness, and all other vices like to these. Do you not think that these are really wicked? Exceedingly wicked in the servants of God. From all of these the servants of God must restrain himself. Restrain yourself then from all these, that you may live to God, and you will be enrolled amongst those who restrain themselves in regard to these matters. These then are the things from which you must restrain yourself. But listen, says he, to the things in regard to which you have not to exercise self-restraint, but which you ought to do. Restrain not yourself in regard to that which is good, but do it. And tell me, sir, say I, the nature of the good deeds, that I may walk in them and wait on them, so that doing them I can be saved. Listen, says he, to do good deeds which you ought to do, and in regard to which there is no self-restraint requisite. First of all, there is faith, then the fear of the Lord, love, concord, words of righteousness, truth, patience. Than these, nothing is better in the life of man. If anyone attend to these and restrain himself not from them, blessed is he in his life. Then there are the following attendant on these: helping widows, looking after orphans and the needy, rescuing the servants of God from necessities, and being hospitable. For in hospitality good doings finds a field, never opposing anyone, the being quiet, having fewer needs than all men, reverencing the aged, practicing righteousness, watching the brotherhood, bearing insolence, being long-suffering, encouraging those who are sick in soul, not casting those who have fallen into sin from the faith, but turning them back and restoring them to peace of mind, admonishing sinners, not oppressing debtors and the needy, and if there are any other actions like these. Do these seem to you good? Says he. For what, sir, say I, is better than these? Walk then in them, says he, and restrain not yourself from them, and you will live to God. Keep therefore this commandment: if you do good and restrain not yourself from it, you will live to God. All who act thus will live in God, and again, if you refuse to do evil and restrain yourself from it, you will live to God, and all will live to God who keep these commandments and walk in them.